What's up, guys? Welcome to Dark Souls 2 from Tin Hat Brigade. I'm Seth. I'll be your guide through the world of Drang Lake. Getting back into the swing of things here with Dark Souls 2. Been out for a while. Was moving, sorry. But hopefully now I have some time and I should be able to get some videos out. For those of you who are waiting for Splinter Cell, I apologize. But I did happen to lose all of my data that I had recorded. So I will go back eventually and do another Splinter Cell run and upload those last couple levels, but I just do not have it in me right now to do it. But I do have it in me to play some Dark Souls, so we're going to play some of that. We're going to be talking some lore, we'll talk a little playthrough, we'll have some fun, and you might just learn a thing or two. But before any of that happens, we got to hit the new game, so here we go. Oh, no more characters can be created. Oh, I gotta delete somebody. That's not a good way to start. Alright, we'll delete this guy. I didn't even know there was a character limit. That stinks. Alright, here we go.
Perhaps you've seen it. Maybe in a dream. A murky, forgotten land. A place where souls may mend your ailing mind. You will lose everything once branded. The symbol of the curse. An augur of darkness. Your past, your future, your very light. None will have meaning, and you won't even care. By then, you'll be something other than human. A thing that feeds on souls, a hollow. Long ago, in a walled-off land far to the north, a great king built a great kingdom. I believe they called it Drang Lake. Perhaps you're familiar. No, how could you be? But one day, you will stand before its decrepit gate without really knowing why.
Take note here. Now watch the reflection in the water compared to the actual ruins. Just keep an eye out. Also take note of these fireflies. They will come in to play later on. Notice how in the water, this reflection is completely different. Not just the door, everywhere. The entire kingdom is still alive.
Like a moth drawn to a flame, your wings will burn in anguish. Time after time. Is your fate, the fate of the cursed.
told you to pay attention to a couple things in there. There are a couple things that I don't think are important. I don't think it's important that the woods were there. I don't think it's important that the player character was there. Those are just backstory leading up to things Betwixt. It is important, I think, those fireflies. And we will see why much later in the game at the Shrine of Amana. That won't come up for a while, but keep it in mind. The second thing I said was the reflection in the water. Obviously something is fishy in Drang Lake. Another thing I didn't mention, but which probably should have, is the old hag. Because she will come into play as well. But those all happen later. I'm using... what's the name of it? Gedasota? The fix for DS2 that Durant made. It really beautifies the game. Really beautifies the game. But I'm not sure how it translates to recording, so hopefully everything still looks fine. If there's a problem with the video, I will try to fix it. But hopefully everything's okay. We are in things Betwixt. Sort of the it's sort of the opening sequence, if you will, for all the undead who come to Drang Lake. As you can see, a lot of darkness out there, not a whole lot going on. This place is likely an extension of Ash Lake from Dark Souls 1 if you played it, and I'll show you why later. If you're a new player, don't hit these things. Don't hit those. They will kill you, and you're probably not good enough yet to beat those guys. Heck, if you're not a new player, you're probably still not good enough yet to beat those guys. You really need a weapon. And once you hit one, they become hostile, and you will have trouble. But like I said, I think this is, most people agree this is probably an extension of Ash Lake. The reason being, see, that is obviously an arch tree. Obviously. You can't see it, but down there is actually water. And, well, I guess you can see the water right here going down. So there's your first clue. This is likely Ash Lake. We'll see a couple more areas later on that give us a bigger reason to believe. First, I'm going to show you this. Let's run up here. Alright, see that guy. It's your first ogre of the game. If you're just starting, I do not recommend you do anything to him. I can kill him, but odds are it's going to take me 10 minutes because I'm only using my fists. See, I don't have a weapon yet. I would just have to go like this, and that would take a while. It would be really boring. He does drop, I believe, the stone ring, which makes you do extra poise damage. It's a useful ring. It's very good, especially for PvP. If you plan to PvP a lot, you can go back and get it once you get some gear. I think you get the stone ring later on, though. Different from a merchant, I believe. So I don't think it's necessary, but we'll see. Alright. Next cutscene.
What seems to be the ruckus?
Oh my, your face. The face of the curse. It's an undead. An undead has come to play. They all end up here. All the ones like you. You spoke to that kind old dear, didn't you?
You're finished. You'll go hollow.
No,
Yes. You'll become one of them.
Hollows prey upon men, feast upon their souls. This is the fate of the cursed.
What is your name?
What is my name? let's just do Witherwords. That's my name. Oh, that's right. Durant's fix removes the cursor. I was wondering where my cursor was. That's awesome.
At least you know your own name. Here's your reward for sharing. It's a human effigy. Take a closer look. Who do you think it's supposed to be? Think back, deep into your past. Yes, it's an effigy of you.
The resemblance is uncanny. Okay. Let's see here, what class do I want to be? Unlike Dark Souls 1, with the addition of Soul Memory in Dark Souls 2, your starting class really doesn't matter anymore. The only reason to pick a Deprived is because you really want to start the game off harder, I guess? I don't know. Your soul level really doesn't matter as much anymore. It matters to an extent, but not like it did in Dark Souls 1. So there's really no advantage to being soul level 1 over anything else, because your soul memory is going to keep going up. The easiest class to start as... well, I don't know. For the sake of gameplay, I'm going to start with the Explorer, because it'll give us the ability to check a couple places early on that we wouldn't otherwise be able to. And I get some nice little items to start with too. Normally I would choose somebody else, but we'll start with as the Explorer. Starting gift. Don't pick the life ring. You can get it pretty early on. Don't waste it on a human effigy. They're not hard to find. Healing wares is very useful. Probably what you should pick if you're starting out. Good lord, don't waste it on the homeward bone. Seed of a Tree of Giants. If you're going to PvP a lot, will be useful, but probably not until New Game Plus. So keep that in mind if you're going for it. Bonfire Ascetic, pretty useful. Petrified Something, also useful. I'm going to go with, we're going to go with the Healing Wares. Just because. And I'm going to give myself a beard. Oh yeah. Like a boss.
All people come here for the same reason. To break the curse. You're no different, I should think. Doesn't stand a chance. Well, you never know.
I don't get it.
Go through the door and trot along to the kingdom. But remember, hold on to your souls. They're all that keep you from going hollow. Oh, I'll fool you no longer. You'll lose your souls. All of them. Over and over again.
It is a very negative view of the world, lady. I do not appreciate it. Alright. In case you're wondering, oh, there's all my pre-order stuff. I'm not going to be using any of the pre-order stuff, because odds are you won't have it. In case you're wondering, these are all Firekeepers. The old lady that we talked to in the beginning, in the intro video, was also likely was probably a fourth Firekeeper. Sort of an outside emissary, if you will, sending people here to Drain Lake to try to relight the flame. Why? Well, because we are on the cusp of an age of dark, and we will talk more about that later on. I'm a jerk, I didn't even do that. This is Millibeth. I don't think think she really says anything interesting, so we're not going to bother talking to her. Other than she says that these are 4 firekeepers, or 3 firekeepers, and that there was a 4th. Alright, it's like that bonfire. I am not going to try to fool anyone. This is not going to be a no death, no bonfire run. It's definitely not going to be a no bonfire run. I'll try not to die as long as I can, but the truth of the matter is, if I'm playing... Did I smooth? Yeah, I got my stone. If I'm playing and doing commentary at the same time, I'm probably going to die, and it's probably going to be a stupid death. So let's make sure what the heck I'm doing playing Dark Souls. Alright, this is a tutorial area. You don't have to go here. I'm only going here because there's one thing I'm going to show you. That's at the end here. If you played the first game, Dark Souls 1 that is. Oops. That was enough. There we go. You probably remember the crow. You could trade the crow... I know you could trade the crow rubbish. I think there were other things you could trade him to, and he would give you items. Nice, another dagger. If you started out as a deprived, this is a place where you can get another dagger early on, if you really want. Like I said, I am doing live commentary, so if you hear me go silent all of a sudden, because I'm focusing. But from the Dark Souls 1, there's a crow you could trade stuff to. He was invisible. And in Dark Souls 2, there's a similar crow. Jerk. Or a set of crows. Not a crow. A set of crows. They don't take rubbish, unlike the first crow. They deal in a higher quality. Alright. Talk to me.
You, give it, mate. Yes, you! Give us Silky!
Alright, so they said smooth and silky. What's smooth and silky? Well, this smooth and silky stone is. Alright, make sure you leave the stone. Don't use it. Using it will not help you. Leave the stone.
Yeah. Silky, smooth.
And I got a soul. Oh well.
Give it, mate.
In the beginning of the game, we were picking our class
Give
item.
us Silky!
If you pick the petrified something, it will. You can trade that in here. Also, they are here. I know you can't see them, but if you keep attacking this area, you see my. You might not be able to see it. The durability of my dagger keeps going down. They're actually here. They're just invisible. But when you attack, your durability goes down. So I'm gonna kick that, but I don't want to go there. I'm gonna go down here, pick up this item. Now we can. I'm not gonna run through the other 2 tutorials because you don't really need to. I don't think they're just teaching you how to play the game. However, if you go through this one right here, you go to the very end. You can fight another ogre. Actually, there are 2 ogres out there that you have to fight at the same time. It's a tough fight, but if you're good at the game, you should be able to do it. And your reward for beating them is 1, you can get into that coffin over there. And I don't have anything to zoom in to show you, but trust me, you can. And that coffin will let you change your gender. Now, if you're this early on in the game, I can't imagine why you need to change your gender. You may as well just restart if it's that big a deal. But later on, if you came back and wanted to respec and do that, that's your choice. It's down there. Also, after killing them, you can go back to talk to Millibeth, and she will give you a ladle, which is kind of funny. It's just an awful weapon that doesn't do anything useful, but I don't know. Maybe it was like an inside joke or something from. Alright, welcome to Majula. Majula is the Firelink Shrine of Dark Souls 2. No, I'm not saying it's actually Firelink Shrine. I don't think it is, but it acts as the Firelink Shrine for you. Let's grab our Divine Blessing first. Before we do anything, let's go up here. Someone we want to go talk to. Actually, we don't really need to talk to him. We're not going to talk to him yet. We can't do his quest line yet. We can go this way to pick up stuff. Apologies right now. This first video is just really going to be me talking to people because There's not a whole lot you can do in the first half hour of Dark Souls, unless you're rushing through, which I am not going to rush through. This is a playthrough to show you what's going on. I don't know where every item in the game is. I don't know how to acquire every single thing, but I've beaten it a couple times. I know what I'm doing, so you should be able to glean quite a bit of info from me. And hopefully Durant's fix does pass over into the recording, because this looks beautiful. I'm downsampling from 4K on my computer here, and it just looks fantastic. Alright, see down here? Drop. Turn. Drop. Morning Star Cleric's Sacred Chime. Easiest way to get a Sacred Chime early on, if you're going down Faith, and also the binoculars. So who doesn't want binoculars? I should point out, you can also get up here if you take a run and jump up and hit like, try to hit like this area right here. It's just a lot more dangerous because you can screw up and roll off. That's why you can see there is a... I just realized I am in online mode. Well, we should be alright. You know what? We should be okay. Playing in online mode in New Game is actually not that bad. I have yet to be invaded on New Game while in online mode. So, we should be okay. We shouldn't have any trouble. We'll do it on online. Alright. This right here tells you how many people have died worldwide. That's a lot of people. That is 103,184,414 deaths. It's a lot of deaths, people. Quit sucking so much. Right.
You're undead, aren't you? You have that distinct scent, the smell of irreversible fate. This is Majula. It is a kind of settlement. A place where life is almost normal.
Almost.
And in Drang Lake these days, there are very few places like that.
Okay, first thing I want to point out. The old hags in the beginning, the firekeepers, no one else in the game says that they met those firekeepers. That strikes me as strange if everyone is coming to Drang Lake that way. So I don't think everyone is coming to Drang Lake that way. Rather, I think only chosen undead are being sent to Drang Lake that way. The ones that are picked from the outside world to come and try to break the curse. Others are coming here, but they're not being sent.
I am Solden. And like you, I lost everything. And now I'm here.
Solden may be the only one.
You probably heard that it was possible to break the curse here.
That's based on his dialogue here.
That's not true at all. There's nothing here for you, me, or anybody.
As you can see, he's kind of a Debbie Downer, but he's actually probably been in Drang Lake for quite a while. He is in the little comic that you get with the pre-order version.
Do you know much about souls?
Oh, I know everything about souls.
Even I'm not certain, but I'm told that the soul is the essence of life itself. Anything living, sentient or no, supposedly has one. What we call the curse is traceable to the soul.
Indeed.
Do you see what that means?
I think I do.
To be alive, to walk this earth. That's the real curse, right there.
Oh, that's not true.
We undead will never die.
I also don't think that's true.
Quite a predicament, really.
Okay. Pretty sure that's all he has to say for right now. He did say some interesting things, though. One thing he said was, we undead will never die. I don't think that's true. If that were the case, there would be just a stupid amount of undead in the world. There aren't. Rather, I think it's true that undead don't die the same way other people die. We'll talk about that later on when we get to some different areas. But here is probably the most important NPC in the game. A lot of people think, oops, let's put binoculars on here. A lot of people, ooh, that was almost a terrible death right there. This is Shanalot. A lot of people think that she is the firekeeper, or not the firekeeper, the hag in the opening video. I don't think that's true. See, she's got her feather down there, so it's got a little dagger. I don't think that's true. We'll go over why later on.
Are you the next monarch?
For now, let's talk.
Or merely a pawn of fate?
Notice the distinction.
Bearer
Monarch
of
or
the curse.
pawn of fate.
I will remain by your side till this frail hope shatters. Take this with you. May it ease your journey.
Hey, this is where you get your Estus flask. You don't start with it. You need to talk to her if you want your
Go
Estus.
on and see the king. He who made Dranglake what it once was. He who peered at the essence of the soul. King Vendrick.
Okay, you may level up by the power of the Emerald Herald. A lot of people have complained that they don't understand what that means. What it means is she's literally your level up post. I don't know what else to call her. You can only level up by talking to her. There's no other way to level up in the game. A lot of people think that that is just a gameplay design by From. I'm not so sure. I actually think that may be a lore thing. We'll talk about that later on.
Bearer
Another
of the
certain
curse, seek misery. For misery will lead you to greater, stronger souls. You will never meet the king with a soul so frail and pallid.
You don't know what I can do.
Seek those whose names are unutterable. The four endowed with immense souls. Their souls will serve as beacons. Once you have found them, return here to me, so that hope will not fade away.
Okay, I'll do that.
Bearer of the curse, seek souls. Larger, more powerful souls. Seek the king. That is the only way. Lest this land swallow you whole, as it has so many others.
Alright, now we can level up better. Obviously we don't have anything we can do yet, because we don't have very many souls. But this is where you level up. Also, this is where you can upgrade your Estus Flask. Unlike in Dark Souls 1, you don't get the Rite of Kindling. You just get these Estus Flask shards. And you bring them to her. She will upgrade your Estus Flask. For every shard you bring her, you'll get an extra swig of the Estus. I think the max is 15. I think it's 15. 11 or 15. I don't remember. Or actually, maybe it's 20. Maybe I just haven't hit the limit with my highest character. But I know you can at least go up to 15. And it'll take multiple playthroughs to get that high. But this seems to be their way of easing you through the game progression-wise, rather than just giving you 5 to start with and telling you that if you don't find the Rite of Kindling, you're screwed. So, there's really nothing else to talk to over here. Let's run this way. Let's see what's our time looking like. Well, let's talk to the rest of the NPCs in the area, and then we'll call it the video. Let's go here first. Soul Soldier and a Life Gem. You can see I have 37 Life Gems. That's a combination of starting out as the Explorer and also picking the healing wares. You just get a bunch of them. You usually don't have that many if you've picked other classes, and definitely if you picked other classes in starting gifts. I'm not really sure why the Lockstone and the Repair Powder are there. Don't need the Prism Stone. Don't really need the coin either. Alright.
Who are you? Oh, it doesn't matter. Just help me open this door.
No.
I packed my tools in here, seeing it was vacant. But now somebody's gone and locked the door.
Well, who would do that? Actually, I know. We will meet her later on. Turn over here. Another Life Gem. Yay. Oh, that's what I need to do. I need to put my Estus on my bar there. Alright. Up here is the stone for the Covenant of Champions. Oh, I should point out that if you keep talking to Salden over there, you can join the Way of Blue Covenant. I don't really want to join the Way of Blue Covenant, but you can if you want to. Way of Blue gets the benefit of Blue Sentinel defenders if they get invaded. But we're in a new game, so we shouldn't really have a problem getting invaded. This is the Covenant of Champions. If you join the Covenant of Champions, you will enter essentially hard mode. If you're new to the game, that can be brutal. I accidentally did it on my first playthrough. I didn't know what it was, and I got all the way to the Pursuer before I finally found out what it was, and realized that that was why the game was so much harder than I was expecting. Alright, there's another guy right there, but let's run up here first. Get this. This isn't important, it's just a Titanite shard. But it's the first one you can get.
Hello there. Welcome to my shop. I'm Morlin, and well, I sell armor. Oh, sorry, Please do have a look at my wares.
Okay.
I could really use the business. If you'd be so kind.
Sure, why not? You have nothing.
I came from the west, from Volgan. Have you been there? It's a lively place, vibrant with trade. Very competitive, of course. And you have to grease the wheels to get anywhere. But I didn't have the funding for that, so I left home in hopes of striking gold. It's been years since then, and I've made very little headway. I don't even know why I'm still here. Everything's all run down and dying. It's terrible for business, really. A group calling themselves the Blue Sentinels have gained much power in Volgan. You can't even run a shop without their blessing. They claim to be working for the greater good, but it's absolute hogwash.
I like his voice. He should act more in my video games.
Oh, by the gods, why the hell am I here?
Okay. You can see Mothman is starting to forget himself. One of the main themes with hollowing seems to be losing your memory. See, these are creepy looking doll things. It's one of the main themes actually for hollowing is not only losing your humanity, but losing your memory. It seems that even if people are starting to go hollow, as long as they've retained their reason for living, their memory of what's going on, they can make it. You're going to find, let's see what this says, jog ahead. You're going to find usually a lot of jump type messages here. If you played the first Dark Souls, you remember the well at Firelink Shrine. The developers actually did put an item inside the well this time, but you don't get it by jumping in. You get it by hitting that rock that was here, which will raise this corpse and allow you to pick up the item, which is a Estus Flash Shard. Hurrah! One more person to talk to. What? Who's in here? There's no one in here except this cat. What is this cat doing here?
Oh, undead are we? And one without much time remaining. Just about ready to fall apart, I'd say. Not exactly the time to be chatting with a cat. Well, suit yourself. Oh yes, you may call me Shalqua. Enchanté. So, what did you want anyway? Ooh, you smell wonderful.
She has strange dialogue. Almost like she was supposed to have more dialogue in between that just wasn't there. If you played Dark Souls 1, you might remember the Forest Hunter Covenant. Forest Hunter? Forest Guardian? Whatever the Forest Covenant was also led by a cat. Now, obviously these cats aren't actually cats. Likely they're something far older, far more powerful than just regular cats. What are they? I don't know. My guess is some kind of god, but we don't really know who. I would guess one of the tricksters, but I have nothing to back that up. That's just a guess based on them taking a different form. If you buy from her, she sells some cool rings. Ring of the Evil Eye, really, really, really useful if you're doing a no bonfire, no death run. If you're doing a no bonfire run, it will allow you to regain your health without having to set up bonfires by just killing your enemies. Obviously, you'd want the higher level ones. The +1, I think, is the highest you can get in New Game. Maybe +2. I don't remember if you can get +2 or not. But getting this will help you stave off that lack of Estus refill. Silver Cat Ring reduces damage from falling. Legend has it that when cats grow old, force brews within them, and they are reborn as something new. Ring of the Evil Eye. Peer too closely at the rare stones to form the eye of this ring, and things that writhe and stir may come into focus. It also has the Red Eye Ring. If it is tranquility that you seek, then you should never have left your home. If you seek strife, then fair enough, but no need to overdo it. The Red Eye Ring is essentially a tank ring in MMO terms. It allows you to garner threat, if you will, on mobs. This is really useful in NPC summoning. If you're trying to keep an NPC alive for their quest, you can wear this ring and the enemy will focus on you rather than the NPC. It's also useful if you have a tank build and you're PvPing a lot. Name Engraved Ring is the easiest way to PvP with your friends. You get it, you choose the name of a god, you both choose the same one, and you can PvP more easily together. And Ring of Whispers, we will come back to that later on. She also sells some random stuff that we don't really need. What time do we got? Let's talk to her.
This place is already dead. Everything will crumble and waste away so that something new may be born. Isn't it wonderful?
Sure.
This place is fascinating. We receive only the most peculiar visitors. Folk like yourself. It's enough to keep even a cat amused. Are you going to see the old ones?
The old ones?
Those 4 who have grown so incredibly ancient.
Here's your first clue that we are actually in...
They must have sprouted quite a thick coat of moss by now. For heaven's sake, no one even knows their names anymore. Imagine that.
In case you're wondering, the old ones are indeed the gods
Yes.
from Dark Souls 1.
Nothing like yourself.
Nito, Gwyn,
Well, you have a
the
most
witch,
pleasant scent.
and
It grows nicer with each
it's possible she's
passing
referring
day.
to Manus as well, but likely she's referring to Seath, because Manus is not actually fully reformed.
Have you made friends with the man by the sea? He has lost everything. Absolutely everything. The only thing he's good for now is a few tidbits on covenants. Covenants are a type of, well, contract, you might say. You give something to gain something. That's the way humans like it, right? It might be just the thing you need. But what does a cat know?
That's all she
Nothing
says for now.
suited you, I presume.
Alright, so that was your first clue that we are actually in Lordran future. That Drang Lake is not necessarily one for one, you know, we're walking the same path or anything silly like that. In fact, I think we only come into contact with a couple areas that may have relation to Dark Souls 1 areas. But obviously Lordran itself was much wider than the small area we encountered. We were only in the area directly around in Orlando. This is a much wider scoped game, and likely we encounter areas that we could have gone to in Dark Souls 1 had the developers so chosen. I should also point out, there's good reason to believe that there was a pretty big cataclysm at one point that wrecked a good chunk of the land. You see this out here, those rock spires, those aren't natural. And let's go over here, show you another spot. Come on, run. See over there, more sunken area. Obviously those people didn't build their city in the water like that. It fell down. So odds are something pretty bad happened in this area that caused it to sink into the sea. What was it? Well, I'm not sure. I don't think it had any relation to things to do in Dark Souls 1. Unless for some reason linking the flame just really destroys the surrounding area. But I don't think that's it. I think it's something else happened. But I'm not sure what. Alright, let's see what time we got here. Let's rest at the bonfire, and when we come back for the next time, we will do some actual playing of Dark Souls. One more thing here before we go. Human effigy. Many people are wondering what humanity is in this game. The human effigy is the replacement for humanity from Dark Souls 1. Humanity works differently. You don't store humanity like you did in Dark Souls 1. Rather, you either are human or are hollow. You can still be invaded while hollow in this game. I think that's just a gameplay design. I don't think it has anything to do with lore. That's just what they chose to do. But I should say this. I do think that the human effigies and the humanity from Dark Souls 1 are related. If you remember in Dark Souls 1, when we went to Ulasile, when we went way back into the past, even in the past for Dark Souls 1, we encounter around the Abyss humanity that is wild and almost alive. It actually can attack you. You fight it. Fast forward to the future of Dark Souls 1, where you actually play most of the game, humanity is no longer alive like that, but it is still almost like a living organism. But it's obviously degraded from Ulasile days. Now fast forward here to Dark Souls 2, likely somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000 years after Dark Souls 1, and we get the human effigies. I don't think that's an accident. A lot of people think this is a gameplay change. I don't think it is. I mean, I think it does change the gameplay, but I think there's a lore reason too. I think the humanity over time dries out. Sort of the same way humans hollow. And that this is what remained of it. We don't have a whole lot of time to talk about this, so I don't want to go too far, but let's say this. Humanity in Dark Souls 1 is wild. When you get Manus' soul, it says so. The humanity of Manus went wild when he came in encounter with the Abyss. It seems like being prolonged removal from the Abyss slowly dries out humanity. Or, if not dry, you could almost say degrades it. To the point where we get this, the human effigy. The human effigy, I think, is humanity, just dried out to the point where it's taken its almost natural form. What is its natural form? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm still thinking on that, but I don't think it's an accident that this is in the game. I do think there's a lore reason for it, and that is all the time we have for today. I will catch you guys later. Bye-bye.